Improvement is not about making drastic changes overnight. It's about making small, consistent steps forward every single day. The idea of improving yourself by just 1% daily might seem insignificant in the short term, but over time, it leads to extraordinary results. This is because progress compounds. Small gains accumulate and multiply, eventually creating a transformation that is far greater than you initially imagined. Think of it like a snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it starts small, barely noticeable. But as it continues to roll, it picks up more snow, gaining momentum, growing larger and stronger with every turn. Personal growth works the same way. When you commit to getting just a little better each day, even in the smallest ways, those minor improvements add up. A single day's progress might not feel like much, but when repeated consistently, it creates an unstoppable force. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with self-improvement is because they focus too much on the end goal instead of the small, daily steps required to get there. They look at the big picture, the weight they need to lose, the book they need to write, the business they want to build, and it feels overwhelming. They compare themselves to experts and masters in their field and feel discouraged because they aren't there yet. But what they don't realize is that every master, every expert, every highly successful person once started at zero. They became great by consistently improving, little by little, every single day. Imagine if you improved your knowledge, skills, mindset, or discipline by just 1% each day. Over time, those small efforts would accumulate into something incredible. If you work out for just 15 minutes today, it may not seem like much, but if you do it every day for a year, you'll be far stronger and healthier than when you started. If you read just a few pages of a book each night, by the end of the year, you'll have read multiple books, gaining knowledge and perspective that you wouldn't have had otherwise. If you dedicate a few minutes daily to practicing a skill, whether it's writing, playing an instrument, speaking a new language, or anything else, you will gradually improve until one day, what once felt difficult becomes second nature. The key is consistency. Many people start strong, but lose momentum when they don't see immediate results. They go to the gym for a week, don't see a transformation, and quit. They start a new habit, face some resistance, and give up. But success isn't about short bursts of effort. It's about persistence. The results may not be visible right away, but they are happening beneath the surface. Just like a seed planted in the ground takes time to sprout and grow into a strong tree. Personal growth takes time, patience, and dedication. Another reason why small daily improvements are so powerful is because they help create lasting change. Too often, people try to change their lives by making massive, unrealistic changes all at once. They set extreme goals like cutting out all unhealthy food overnight or waking up at 4 a.m. every day when they're used to sleeping in. These changes might work temporarily, but they're hard to sustain. That's why most New Year's resolutions fail. People go too hard too fast and burn out. But when you focus on small, manageable improvements, they become habits. They become part of who you are. You don't need to make drastic changes. You just need to be a little better than you were yesterday. There will be days when you don't feel like putting in the effort. Days when you're tired, unmotivated, or discouraged. But that's when this mindset matters most. Even on the hardest days, if you can push yourself to improve by just 1%, by doing one more push-up, reading one more page, taking one more step forward, you're still progressing. And over time, these small efforts will pay off in ways you never imagined. So, instead of worrying about how far you still have to go, focus on what you could do today. Just one small step, one small improvement. Because over time, those small steps will turn into a journey of incredible growth. The person you become a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, will be a direct result of the small, consistent improvements you make starting today. Motivation is a powerful force, but it is also fleeting. Some days, you wake up feeling energized, ready to tackle any challenge, full of ambition and excitement. Other days, you feel exhausted, uninspired, and tempted to take the easy route. This is the reality of being human. Motivation comes and goes, and if you rely on it alone to drive your progress, you will struggle to be consistent. That is why discipline is far more important than motivation. Discipline is what ensures you continue moving forward, even when motivation disappears. Many people wait for motivation before they take action. They tell themselves that they will start working out when they feel more inspired, that they will begin writing when the creative spark hits, that they will chase their goals when the timing feels right. But the truth is, if you wait for motivation, you may never start at all. Motivation is unpredictable. It cannot be controlled. Some days it will be there, pushing you forward, and other days it will be nowhere to be found. Relying on motivation means relying on something unreliable. Discipline, on the other hand, is something you can control. It is the choice to take action regardless of how you feel. It is the decision to stick to your commitments, even when it is inconvenient or difficult. Discipline is built through consistent action. It is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. The first time you push yourself to follow through on something when you don't feel like it, it may be difficult. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. Over time, you stop questioning whether you should do something, and instead, you simply do it because it has become a habit. This is how successful people operate. They do not wait until they feel like doing the work. They do it because they have trained themselves to take action regardless of their mood. One of the biggest misconceptions about discipline is that it is restrictive or exhausting. Some people think that being disciplined means living a rigid, joyless life, but the opposite is true. Discipline creates freedom. When you have discipline, you are in control of your actions and your future. You do not waste time making excuses, procrastinating, or feeling guilty about what you should have done. Instead, you take action, you make progress, and you build momentum. This gives you more time and energy to enjoy life because you are not constantly battling with yourself over what you should be doing. Discipline also prevents regret. Think about all the times you have skipped a workout, procrastinated on an important task, or ignored a goal you wanted to achieve. In the moment, it may have felt good to take the easy route, but later, regret set in. You wish you had stuck to your plan. You wish you had followed through. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts much longer. Choosing discipline means choosing a future where you can look back with pride, knowing that you put in the effort to become better. To build discipline, start by setting clear, non-negotiable commitments. Instead of telling yourself, I will try to go to the gym, say, I will go to the gym at 7 a.m., no matter what. Instead of saying, I should start reading more, commit to reading 10 pages every night before bed. Remove the option to back out. Make the decision once, and then follow through without debate. The more you practice this, the more disciplined you become. Another key to discipline is focusing on small, consistent actions rather than overwhelming changes. Many people fail to stick to their goals because they try to change too much at once. They go from never exercising to trying to work out for 2 hours a day, or from eating unhealthy foods to attempting a strict diet overnight. This approach rarely works because it is unsustainable. Instead, start small. Commit to just 5 minutes of exercise, just one healthy meal, just one productive habit. As you prove to yourself that you can stick to these small commitments, you will naturally build the discipline to take on bigger challenges. There will be days when you slip up. Everyone has moments of weakness, times when they miss a workout, break a habit, or fall into procrastination. The key is to not let one mistake turn into a pattern. Missing one day does not ruin your progress. What matters is what you do next. Do not allow a single failure to make you feel like giving up. Get back on track immediately and keep moving forward. At the end of the day, discipline is a choice. It is the choice to do what needs to be done, even when it is hard. It is the choice to prioritize long-term success over short-term comfort. And it is the choice that separates those who achieve their goals from those who only dream about them. When motivation fades, discipline remains. And that is what leads to real, lasting progress. Growth does not happen in comfort. The moments that truly shape a person are the ones that test their limits, push them beyond what they thought was possible, and force them to confront their fears and weaknesses. Challenges and failures are not obstacles to avoid. They are necessary steps on the path to improvement. Every struggle, every difficulty, and every setback contains a lesson that has the power to make you stronger, smarter, and more resilient. The only way to reach your full potential is to embrace those moments rather than run from them. Most people avoid challenges because they are uncomfortable. They stay within familiar routines, doing only what feels safe and easy. But growth requires discomfort. If you never push yourself beyond what is comfortable, you will never develop new skills, gain new knowledge, or reach new levels of success. Progress comes from stepping into the unknown, taking risks, and being willing to struggle in pursuit of something greater. Every skill you now possess, every bit of knowledge you have, was once unfamiliar to you. The only reason you have improved is that at some point you faced the challenge of learning, failing, and trying again. Failure, in particular, is something many people fear. It is often seen as proof of weakness, as something to be ashamed of. But failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. No one who has ever achieved anything great did so without failing along the way. Every successful person has faced rejection, loss, and setbacks. But the difference is that they use those failures as fuel rather than letting them become barriers. When you fail, you have two choices. You can let it define you, or you can let it teach you. If you choose the second option, failure becomes a tool for improvement. It shows you what went wrong, where you need to improve, and what changes you need to make to move forward. Think about any great athlete, artist, or leader. They did not reach the top by succeeding every time. They failed, often repeatedly. They lost games, made mistakes, faced criticism, and had moments of doubt. But instead of giving up, they kept going. They analyzed their failures, learned from them, and made adjustments. That is what separated them from the rest. The ability to get back up, to keep pushing forward despite setbacks, is what leads to greatness. There's a mindset shift that happens when you start embracing challenges instead of fearing them. When you see obstacles as opportunities, your perspective changes. Instead of dreading difficult situations, you start looking for ways to grow from them. Instead of avoiding things that seem hard, you start seeking them out because you understand that struggle leads to strength. This shift in mindset is what turns ordinary people into high achievers. It is not that they have fewer obstacles. It is that they approach them differently. This applies to every area of life. In fitness, the hardest workouts are the ones that build the most strength. In learning, the most challenging subjects are the ones that expand your mind the most. In relationships, difficult conversations are the ones that lead to the deepest connections. And in personal development, the struggles you go through are the ones that shape you into the person you are meant to become. There will always be moments when you want to quit, times when the challenge feels too great, the failure too painful, the struggle too overwhelming. But those are the moments that define you. If you push through, if you keep going even when everything in you wants to stop, you will come out stronger. You will prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever thought possible. And that belief, that inner confidence, will carry you through every challenge that comes after. It is easy to look at successful people and think they got there because they were lucky or naturally talented. But the truth is, they got there because they refused to back down from difficulty. They chose to embrace the hard moments, to keep going even when things were not easy, to see failure as a lesson rather than a defeat. That choice is available to everyone. It is not about talent, luck, or circumstances. It is about mindset. If you want to improve, if you want to reach your goals and become the best version of yourself, you must be willing to embrace challenges and failures. You must be willing to push past your limits, to struggle, to fall, and to get back up again. Growth is never easy, but it is always worth it. The choice is yours. Stay comfortable and remain the same, or step into discomfort and become something greater. Your progress, your success, and your growth are entirely in your hands. It is easy to look at external factors, circumstances, other people, or bad luck, and blame them for why things are not going the way you want. But the truth is, nothing will change until you take full responsibility for your actions, your decisions, and your future. The moment you stop making excuses and start holding yourself accountable is the moment you take control of your life. Many people spend their time waiting for the perfect opportunity, waiting for the right conditions, waiting for motivation to strike. But waiting accomplishes nothing. Progress only happens when you decide to take action, no matter what the situation looks like. Life will never hand you the perfect circumstances. There will always be challenges, obstacles, and setbacks. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not luck, talent, or opportunity. It is the ability to take responsibility for what they can control and take action despite adversity. Taking responsibility means recognizing that you are in charge of your choices. You decide how you spend your time. You decide what habits you build. You decide whether you push forward or make excuses. No one else is responsible for your growth. No one else is going to do the work for you. If you want to improve, if you want to reach your goals, you have to take ownership of the process. That means being honest with yourself about where you are falling short and making the necessary changes. One of the most common ways people avoid responsibility is through excuses. They blame their circumstances, their past, or the people around them. They convince themselves that they can't succeed because they don't have enough time, they weren't given the right opportunities, or they have too many obstacles in their way. But if you look at those who have achieved great things, you will see that they all face struggles. They all had reasons to quit. The difference is that they refused to let their excuses define them. They found a way to move forward no matter what. Taking responsibility also means accepting your mistakes. Everyone makes them. No one is perfect, but the difference between those who grow and those who stay stuck is how they respond to their mistakes. Some people make excuses, blame others, or pretend it wasn't their fault. Others own up to it, learn from it, and do better next time. The second group is the one that improves. If you want to grow, you must be willing to look at your failures honestly, without defensiveness or denial. Every mistake is a lesson if you choose to learn from it. Responsibility applies to discipline as well. If you say you want to be better, you have to follow through with action. You cannot just talk about your goals. You have to work toward them every single day. If you want to be stronger, you have to train. If you want to be smarter, you have to study. If you want to build something meaningful, you have to put in the effort. No one can do these things for you. The results you get are directly tied to the work you put in. A big part of taking responsibility is controlling your mindset. Life is not always fair. Things will go wrong. People will disappoint you. Unexpected problems will arise. But none of that determines your success. Your response does. You can choose to see setbacks as reasons to quit, or you can choose to see them as challenges to overcome. The way you think about adversity determines whether you grow from it or let it hold you back. A strong mindset is built on the belief that no matter what happens, you are capable of adapting, learning, and continuing forward. When you take full responsibility for your life, you also gain freedom. You no longer wait for someone else to fix your problems or create opportunities for you. You stop relying on outside circumstances to dictate your future. Instead, you recognize that you have the power to shape your own path. This is a powerful shift because it means you're no longer controlled by what happens around you. You are in charge. People who take responsibility do not wait for the perfect moment. They create it. They do not let fear stop them. They push through it. They do not look for excuses. They look for solutions. This is the mindset that leads to real progress. If you want to improve, you must adopt it. It all comes down to a simple truth. You are responsible for your own growth. No one else can make you better. No one else can put in the effort for you. You have to do the work, you have to stay disciplined, and you have to keep pushing forward. Once you fully accept this, there is no limit to what you can achieve.